What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogreboy and I'm going to be doing my review for the 1963 movie The Sword and the Stone. So in this movie, Ward, a young boy who aspires to be a knight squire, is on a hunting trip when he falls in on Merlin, a powerful but amnesiac wizard who has plans for him beyond squiredom. And he starts to give him an education, believing that once one has an education, one can go anywhere. Needless to say, it doesn't quite work out that way. This movie is pretty good. I've always enjoyed The Sword and the Stone. It's one of the ones that I've always liked ever since I was a kid. It's just a lot of fun and everything. I always love the transformation scenes when they turn into fish and then they turn into squirrels a little bit later in the movie. That's probably my favorite part of the movie, is when they're squirrels and the girl squirrels are all over them and stuff. I just always found that amusing and kind of sad and stuff when the girl squirrel realizes Wart's actually human and starts crying and stuff and has a broken heart. It's just really sad, but that scene always just cracked me up and everything. And then you got the really awesome duel between Merlin and Mad Madam Mim. It's just really fun scene. Probably the best scene in the entire movie, really, is that whole duel scene. It's just awesome. And everything, they turn into different animals and go after each other. It's just a really fun scene and everything. But I do feel like this movie could have been a little bit longer. It's only an hour and 19 minutes. That's probably my biggest complaint with it, is I wish that it would have been a little bit longer and we could have seen what Arthur was like as a king and stuff. They could have added another 40 minutes onto it and let it be a 2-hour movie and show what Arthur was like as a king. They could have skipped ahead a few years till he's an adult or whatever and everything. Instead we just get to see like what he's like as a king, but or what he's like when he first finds out that he's a king. He doesn't really want the responsibilities and stuff. But I always wanted a sequel to this movie. I always felt like out of all the Disney animation sequel or movies, this is one of the ones that deserved a sequel. And I don't know why I never got one. I think this one might have been one of their moderate hits. It wasn't like a huge hit. I don't know if it was a flop or not though. But I know it wasn't like one of their biggest doing movies, because a lot of people have said in years since it came out that it's one of the more underrated Disney movies, and I do agree, it is pretty underrated. It doesn't get the credit it deserves. The animation is a little scratchy at times. You can kind of see the scratchiness of the lines and stuff on the animation a little bit, but it still doesn't really bother me. It's still really entertaining there, and it's got a good story, and the characters are lovable. Ward is a likable main character, and Merlin steals the show whenever he's on screen, and Archimedes the owl is also really lovable. But all three of them are great main characters, and the side characters, Ward's stepfather and stepbrother, are fine enough. They're kind of there to be in the way of Merlin's teachings and stuff like that. They're just kind of there for that reason, but by the end of it they come around to it and everything, and they're pretty decent and everything. This is a pretty good movie. I wouldn't say it's one of the very best Disney animated movies for sure, though. It's not one of my very most favorites. There are a lot of other ones that I like more than this, but there's a lot that I like this one more than too. It's kind of just somewhere that's in the middle for me. It's a middle tier Disney movie, but it's a fun one, and I never am bored with it. I always enjoy it when I watch it. I actually had forgotten how much I enjoyed it, because the last time I watched it I didn't enjoy it as much, but I think I watched it with someone, and the VHS that I watched it on was in very poor quality and everything. I watched it for the first time on DVD and everything. That's kind of how I noticed the animation is doesn't hold up as well as some of Disney's other animated movies. This one and the Aristocats, the animation isn't quite as good on it as it is other movies, but I still love this one, and I think it's definitely worth watching and everything. Like I said, I do wish that it would have gotten a sequel, because it actually is one of the ones that left off where they could have continued the story easily and everything. I would have loved to see what they would have done with it, although if they would have done a direct-to-video sequel, it probably wouldn't have been that good. But for what we got, it's a pretty good movie, and it's a cool little prequel to the Arthur story in a way. Learning about his training with Merlin, and it's fun. So I say I'd give The Sword in the Stone an 8 out of 10. I really enjoy this movie, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. It's a classic, and like I said, it's one that I watched a lot as a kid, so I have a lot of nostalgia for it and everything. I watched a lot of the older Disney ones growing up because my grandparents were awesome, and always wanted me to watch movies that they watched when they were younger and stuff. Them and my parents introduced me to a lot of great old classic Disney movies back when I was a kid, so I have a lot of nostalgia for the old ones, just like I do the new ones and newer ones, or the ones from when I was a kid at that time and everything. I grew up with movies like this just as much as I did stuff like Aladdin and Lion King and stuff like that, so I have a lot of enjoyment out of this one. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of The Sword in the Stone, and I hope you enjoy this video, and have a good day, everybody.